Hello, I'm Eric Strong, and I'm a clinical associate professor of medicine at Stanford University. This is the first video in a series on the respiratory system. This series will be similar in scope and intended audience as my series on the cardiovascular system, with one notable difference in organization. With the cardiovascular series, there is a single introductory video that covers the function, anatomy, histology, and very basic introductory physiology of that system, intended to get all viewers up to speed and on the same page before it deep dives into more advanced physiology topics. With no disrespect to my cardiology colleagues, the lungs are just a bit more complicated, and it's not practical to squeeze all that into one video for this system. So instead, there will be this very brief video on the functions of the respiratory system, another video on its anatomy, one on its histology, and then one on the basics of respiratory physiology, what might be covered in an undergraduate course, before starting the deep dives appropriate for a future medical professional. The whole series will be designed to either be watched in order or be watched as standalone videos for specific topics. With that out of the way, by the end of this video, you will be able to describe the overall functions of the respiratory system, including both those related to gas exchange and those that are not. In short, the primary function of the respiratory system is gas exchange. On the most basic level, the right side of the heart pumps blood to the lungs, where oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide is expelled into the external environment. The now oxygenated blood then returns to the left side of the heart, from which it is pumped to the rest of the body. The body's organs and tissues then take up that oxygen and release carbon dioxide into the blood. This carbon dioxide then returns to the right side of the heart to complete the cycle. But what purpose exactly does gas exchange have? Oxygen uptake from the air is needed by cells for the process of oxidative phosphorylation, which produces the overwhelming majority of the body's energy-storing ATP, the molecule which drives nearly all cellular processes. The same biochemical pathways, such as the citric acid cycle that produce the energy-containing intermediates that drive oxidative phosphorylation, they also produce carbon dioxide. The body must eliminate this metabolic byproduct for several reasons, but the most immediate is the regulation of blood pH. Tight regulation of pH is critical for the proper function of enzymes and other proteins. Too much carbon dioxide drives down pH, which alters the charge state of ionizable amino acid side chains, affecting both protein shape and non-covalent interactions with other molecules and ions. While the body does have multiple buffer systems to lessen the impact of swings in CO2 on pH, most notably the bicarbonate buffer system, and it can compensate by the kidneys via the acidification of urine, there is a limit to these systems. Although gas exchange is the most obvious and most important role of the respiratory system, it also has a number of non-respiratory functions. While not the focus of either this video or this video series, it's still important to be aware of these secondary functions. As it's an organ with direct contact to the outside environment, it plays a critical role in immune function and host defense against pathogens. It has various metabolic functions. For example, the pulmonary vasculature is the body's primary site of angiotensin-converting enzyme. This enzyme is responsible for the conversion of inactive angiotensin 1 to active angiotensin 2, the latter of which is a hormone essential for the regulation of blood pressure, blood volume, and electrolytes. This same ACE enzyme is also responsible for the degradation of other chemical messengers, such as bradykinin, which has a role in the regulation of blood pressure and inflammation. The lungs modulate the clotting cascade, producing procoagulant, anticoagulant, and fibrinolytic compounds. The lungs play a small role in the modulation of body temperature by releasing excess heat in expired air. The pulmonary capillary bed, a network of billions of microscopic blood vessels, serves as a physical filter for blood. This prevents blood clots and small bubbles of air called air emboli from moving from the venous side of the systemic circulation to the relatively more dangerous arterial side, where they could cause a stroke among other life-threatening problems. The pulmonary vasculature serves as a distensible reservoir for blood, holding about 500 milliliters in adults. This reservoir helps to buffer beat to beat and breath to breath variations in cardiac stroke volume between the right and left ventricles of the heart. And last, the lungs and the upper respiratory tract are both necessary for phonation, that is, the generation of speech and other sounds used for communication. That's it for this very brief introductory video on the functions of the respiratory system. The next video in this series will discuss its anatomy.